are back, ladies and gentlemen, once again with the season 2 of the Shout Out podcast. Dan, this season is going so hot, and today is no exception, ladies and gentlemen. We have Mr. Sam Thomas on the podcast. Sam, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
We are good, great, man. Thank you. We're good. Normally, I would say if you're what it is you do when I introduce you, but you're up to so much at the moment. I didn't even really know what to introduce you to, guys. Really.
I was going to say, you TikTok live creator, you've got your own music, you've got your open mics. You're doing a lot, man.
Yeah, man. I certainly feel like I am, but it's. I mean, I'm blessed to be able to do it. Putting that work in at the start. Playing music in my room, like when I was 15 years old. That grind. It's kind of coming to fruition, which is nice,
Yeah,
it's so cool to hear.
Where did it all start? I mean, I'll go through like the TikTok stuff and the morning coffee and your current music, but on Spotify it mentioned you'd been in like other bands before the solo music. So where did like your music career start? Because I don't know at all. So
my music career started when I was about 15. I got given a guitar from my cousin, just like a crappy little red and white Strat, that had no sort of make or model on it, and I was like, yeah, it's a Fender. Like it wasn't like
get Sharpie out.
Yeah. Fender. But like it just started from there, and it really didn't. I didn't pick up music or enjoy music until I started playing in bands. Like just playing with the boys, like going over to my mate's house, and he had a garage, and would like learn covers and stuff, and it was really just about that got me into it. Like my mate would turn up, I've just heard this new song, like it was usually a Blink-182 song, and I'd be like, all right, okay, and then would just be trying different things, and then would record. I remember we recorded our first song, and then that just like sort of springboarded were to do more, and I think I've always just been chasing the dopamine hit of making music and gigging, and I've never really stopped since I was 15. So it started like that, and I've been chasing it ever since, man.
Nice. What's really cool about what it seems, I don't actually know a lot about you, and I'm really excited to learn, but it seems that like you have one thing, and then you manage, like you said, you can springboard it into another project, which kind of springboards into another project, and you never really, like you kind of don't really know where it's going to lead until it happens. It sounds like such a fun journey that you've been on.
Yeah, man. It's I think that's the beauty of it, though, is that being a creative, it's so much more than just creating music. It's about creating opportunities. Like you have so much power to be able to, like, whatever you can think of in your head, you can turn it into reality. And I think that's the beauty of it. And I mean, being a self-employed musician, it's not easy, but it's rewarding when it comes off, And I guess it's just like that hustle, that grind, that like I enjoy. I get such a sense of satisfaction and achievement from doing it,
Yeah. I want to go straight into your TikTok live to kind of give you some context. I'm normally the person in your comments. There's no rest for placement, right? It's either me or Charlie, but it's normally me.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's such a strange story. So like we literally just released our first song, and I think it was somewhere near the start of the morning coffee as well, because it was the year anniversary, right, the other day.
Yes.
So I literally was just scrolling on TikTok live. I was like, I'm going to try and find someone to play our song. And you're the first person that we found on TikTok. And I've been there ever since. So it's really weird for me now seeing you on camera.
Yeah.
I've described it to the band lads, and they know some of it. Like Dan doesn't kind of go on TikTok too much. So I was like trying to describe it. But yeah, morning coffee. Tell me all about it.
So the morning coffee, I guess I started it because I didn't listen to enough music. Just out and about. Like, I don't know about you, but like being a musician, I listen to music in a certain way, or at least I used to. I'd listen to something and I'd be like, oh, I need to replicate that in a song or something like that. Like I couldn't just like sit and listen to it and appreciate it. And another thing as well is that I felt like I was losing touch with, sort of communicating with people. And like, yes, you get up and you perform and stuff like that, but it still feels a little bit sort of isolated, or at least the way that I was doing it. So I wanted to bring those two things together, and I just thought, I want to listen to more music. I'm going to, just sort of listen to music, and if people join, they join. And at the time, I was having a bit of bother with my job at the time as well, and I wasn't too sure if I was going to go back, and I didn't want to go back, if I'm being completely honest. And I tried it, and it came off. I remember doing the very first morning coffee, and it was very successful, a lot more successful than what I thought. There were people like just popping in, like, "Oh, I love this song." I remember I played Red Bull and Childish Gambino, and like the viewers just went up like crazy, and they're like, "Oh, I love Childish Gambino," blah blah blah, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, this is a cool concept." And then I think what really made it work though was the community. Once I realized it was about community, and it was about people coming together every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and people were paying attention to the schedules, and they were like waiting for it, like that's what stood out to me. What I was like, people are getting something out of this, and I don't know why or how, but it's awesome, and let's go with it, And like it's just we found some awesome bands. One thing I've always said is I've always wanted to be able to have a platform that can showcase unsigned music and actually communicate with other bands and artists, because I'm a band and artist myself.
Of course,
And one thing I always found was that it's so difficult to get people to play your music without you having to pay or jump through hoops. Well, at the end of the day, man, what is it to be like, yeah, of course I'll play your tune. Like, it's no skin off my nose. Like, it costs nothing to help people, So exactly. That's how I saw it. And I mean, you guys...
I do want to say...
Yeah?
I want to say, as a musician, like when Dan showed me, I think you screen recorded it or something.
Yeah, the first one,
And you came to Dan, you were like, this guy TikTok live, and he was streaming, and you had like you were playing just like songs, like well-known popular songs, and then you'd our song in the middle, and you're like, this is a sick song. That really just like really touched me in like such a serious way. And I'm really glad I finally had the chance to thank you for it.
Oh, mate,
that was so cool, man.
Honestly, man, like the way I see it, as I say, I've been doing this a long time, and the way I see it is that there's no need to gatekeep anything. Like, if you have an opportunity to help and to sort of help promote and market and stuff like that, because I know a lot of that's the narrative, isn't it? Oh, community this and do this and do this. But like, your actions speak louder than words. Anyone can speak that, but if you have an opportunity to do that, then you best believe that you should do it. And 100%. As I say, it costs nothing. And I love your music, man. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that you guys do your thing and you promote the hell out of it. It's so innovative the way that you promote, and you can tell you just love what you do. And to me, I feed into that, and the rest of the guys in the morning coffee, they feed into it as well,
Yeah. The chat's really good. That's one thing that stood out to me, because like when I was in there for the first couple of times, people were like, I was at your open mic night the other night, or there's other people involved in music, or even like it's Jasmine, right, who has the magazine MXG. Yeah. So like there's already like in a year of doing that, you've got like a network of like different people in the industry, which I love it. It's brilliant. I'm one of them people that will be there at 10 a.m. on my phone waiting to go live.
This is the thing, man. Like I think it's important to keep humility within being music and being a creative, because like at the end of the day, other people can see you in that way, and that's fine. But there's this level of humility that I think people buy into now, and the on society and social media and stuff like that. They promote ego, and they promote this arrogance that I've never been able to feed into. And the minute that I realized that the morning coffee was about the people, and the music was just a conversation starter, that's when it was like, right, okay, I need to do this consistently.
Yeah.
And what I love is the fact that when you guys pop in and stuff like that, and and you know, you'll be like, oh, we've got a new track, like, can you check it out? It's like, yes, of course. That's what we're here for. You know, it's sick, man. I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud of the guys because of you know, Jasmine, for example, with MXG, you know, she's always been an incredible writer, and she's always had a passion for music, but she's just never been given the opportunity or chance or platform and confidence as well. The confidence to just go for it, because that's another thing that stops people, is that self-confidence, you know, the anxiety of like, oh, what if, like, who cares? Like, go for it, you know. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And me and Jasmine work very closely together now, and she's thriving with what she's doing, man. She's got the same mindset. She's got the same mindset, and it's really cool. It is.
Yeah. You've talked a lot about our music. I want to talk about your music a little bit, if that's okay.
Go on.
Because your new tune, Lavender, like I didn't hear it until like really recently.
Well, we did a video, right? That's an unseen video where we were gonna post this on our TikTok of Danny B reacting to your song Lavender, because it was like he would show me 2 songs he loves, I would show him 2 songs I love, and that was the first time I got him to listen to it.
Oh, yeah, right. Love that.
I think we had to rate it, didn't we? And I did give it a solid rating, because it was just like it's got a kind of freshness to it. How does your process work? Like, because hearing that you were like doing same thing I was doing at 15, is playing Blink-182 songs in a garage. But like, how going from that kind of punk core to the kind of style you're making now, how did that come about?
So, I mean, I've been in so many different kinds of bands. I've been in metal bands, you know, I've been, you know, screamo, like pop punk, indie, alternative. I guess it's just like whatever you're vibing with at the time. But one thing I will say is that I always used to try and write for others. You know, for the generic audience, or what I thought people wanted to hear. And it was never authentic. It never felt authentic. I never believed in what I was doing, and therefore I never believed in promoting it. So with Lavender, it's a song about burnout and finding your place of relaxation, you know, the pursuit of you know, peace, I guess. And that's one thing that I've always struggled with. And I wrote it, and then for me, it was when my mates would talk, like, you know, like my mates that I see all the time. Like, they were like, you know what, I love that song. And I showed it to my mom, and my mom loves it as well. And I was like, right, okay. And then it's sort of like the process was, it took a while, you know. I remember I'd started out on the acoustic, and I came up with that riff. It was a boom, 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 boom. I was like, ooh, that's cool. I like that. And then I went away, and it was sat there for about a year. And then now and again, like, I've got a full hard drive of ideas and songs, and I'll come back to them, and I'll be like, right, okay, let's work on that one now, because I've had this idea now, you know, like inspiration and stuff like that. Because my biggest thing was always finding the right sounds, because I produced it all myself as well.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wicked, man.
Yeah, wicked. And the beauty of it was the fact that I just remember, just like before I went to bed, I'd say like, oh, I'll just do an hour on this, you know, and then before I know, it's like 3 a.m, and I'm just scrolling through different snare sounds, like, right, okay, yeah, I think that's the one. And I'm like,
normal people are scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, just scrolling through the perfect kick. Like,
I'm doom sampling. But no, I remember when it clicked, and I remember I was talking to my housemate about it, and I said, listen, I could spend more time on this, but I think it's probably going to just get worse. So I was like,
let's get to that point.
Yeah, but I was like, you know what, sometimes you just got to release it, man. Like, let's just get it out there. And then it was just a case of finding the right way to promote it. And again, I didn't really know the best way to promote it until I started paying attention to other people. I think it's so important to listen, you know, to your peers and to what people are saying, because at the end of the day, those are the ones that are, you know, going to be consuming your music and you know, sort of buying, downloading your music. So it's important to sort of listen to them. And when my mate was, you know, when my friends were saying, "Oh, I really love this song and I've shown such and such and blah blah blah," I was like, "Oh, okay." And my hardest thing is promoting and marketing, and I know you guys don't find that difficult. So I'm just intrigued. Who has the ideas for the marketing and promotion?
It's depending on so I'm TikTok, so I cover all our TikTok, and then the lead singer Charlie is for the Instagram, but Danny is our like person on camera. So the rest of us can't do anything on camera. We're dreadful, but Dan's the funny one that can just, you ask him to do anything and
But so it's the thing though, because I'm actually terrible at coming up with the ideas, but I'm just up for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're like, "Why don't you just put a spacesuit on and then like kiss the alien?" That'd be funny. I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" And then like all the stuff that they're like, just any idea I'm willing to try, just because it might be funny. And we've filmed loads of stuff.
Yeah,
we never put up because we were like, "Oh, that's actually a bit crap." It's all about just doing it and just kind of like swallowing your pride a bit and being like, you know what, it could be funny, it could be shit, and then we don't post it anywhere. But like, that's kind of my mentality behind how we do it. But I can't take any of the credit for the actual like ideas, because that is like a group thing, isn't it? I remember like it was when you released the one before your latest one,
Mash.
Yes, Mash.
Oh.
The one that's been played on the Morning Coffee like 20, 30 times.
That song was, that promotion, we hadn't done anything until 2 days before, and we were really panicking, because we're actually really not good at social media as a band, but we kind of have like
not
panics
organised.
where we're like, okay, let's do loads today. But me and Dan were at an event and the song was out at midnight, and we're like, we're just going to have a few beers and go around the O2 and just record anything and everything. And then the song done like crazy numbers just from that TikTok promotion, like just getting him to do zip lines and going up to people so normally it's all done in a panic.
I mean, at the end of the day though, I bet you had fun doing it though, like that.
So much fun.
That's the main
it was
thing.
Like I don't know if do you remember the video of me hanging off the slide and going down.
Yes
there was we were leaving, we had a bit to drink at this point, and we were leaving, and I was like, "Dan, I really want to go on it." And then you were like, "Mate, it's going to cost you so much money to go on that thing." I can't remember how much it was, but it's in the O2 Arena, so it would have cost a lot. I remember we slipped someone who worked there a $5, and he just let me go up really quick, and we just needed it for a music video. And then he was like, "Go on, mate," and you don't ask, you don't get. You know?
This is the thing, man. I think one of my biggest things, and I'm slowly getting over it just by doing the Morning Coffee and knowing that the community have my back and stuff like that. But it's that anxiety. Like I have like mad social anxiety, I'm not gonna lie. Which is crazy considering what I do.
All the things you do.
But like it kind of makes sense because you're in a different mindset. And I think for me, that's one of my biggest things is that if I felt like I could just go out and be like, "Oh, hey, can you listen to my song?" I remember I was out drinking with my mate and his girlfriend, right? And we were in this pub, and there was about 10 people in there, and Lavender came out like the next week or something. And my mate's girlfriend just started going around everyone and being like, "Can you pre-save my mate's song?" And they did. And then like I was like, "Oh, damn," because I said I always put myself a goal of like what I want to achieve, and then once it's done, I'm like, anything else is a bonus. And I think it was like 50 pre-saves or something, and like we hit like 60, which was really cool. And I was like, damn, that might have came from like just going around like absolutely out my head in the pub. But like I get like a little bit like, you know, like if someone, you know, when like you play your song to someone and then like it's that awkward moment of like you sat there and you're like, like what do you do? What do you say? Like, you know, like they're listening.
It's so awkward,
isn't it? Awkward. It's the worst is when you've got, because I showed to like when I'm working on songs, I'll show it to my housemate, but like I'll give him the headphones. And I'm like sort of watching the waveform just at like what bit like he's on, and I'm sort of looking at him and I'm sort of waiting for like a sort of, you know, an expression or something like that,
like a foot tap or something,
or foot tap or something, or like a You know what I mean? Like it's something like that. And then it's like nothing. I'm like, is it bad? But no, man, it's like I guess I've been quite harsh on myself as a musician, as an artist for a long time, and I'm only just started getting that joy back, you know, that peace and that joy, and that really everything comes from the morning coffee. It's the core of everything that I do right now, and it's the thing that springboarded me, and it leads into the open mics and stuff like that. You know, it's a beautiful connection, you know.
When did you start the open mics? And because you've done loads of different venues, right, up north. It's near Newcastle, right? I'm not getting that wrong, am I?
Yeah, so Newcastle. It's like around like North Tyneside, South Tyneside, Northeast England. I've actually, as I say, I've been in bands and stuff like that. And in 2017, I started putting on showcases, and they were going quite well. You know, like a lot of great bands and artists that are doing very well right now came to my showcase and open mics and stuff like that. Do you know Victor Ray?
I've heard
Have you seen him on TikTok?
I don't know. No.
He done like the busking with like Teddy Swims and stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, so he lived in Sunderland, and I remember I asked him to perform at this. It was a place called Buddha Lounge, right? Don't know if it's still open now or whatever, but it was like this Asian fusion restaurant. And the way I see things, right, I was like, this place needs some damn live music. It needs some atmosphere, you know? And I remember I put him on, and the owner or the manager or something like that was like, oh, he's too depressing for this. I was like, have you heard his voice? He's incredible. He's going to be huge. And now he's huge. He's touring like Australia and stuff like that. And I think one of the things that I wanted to do, and it ties in with the morning coffee, is I just wanted to give people opportunities. When I was doing it, I came across a lot of sort of friendships that weren't friendships, and business relationships that weren't, and I really did not feel any value or anything like that. I remember people were told behind my back, and then like instead of explaining to me why they weren't booking me, they just stopped booking me. And I always remember just feeling not very nice about that, you know. And I always remember just being like, if someone just give us an opportunity, like I'd just really appreciate that. And I never had the opportunity at the time, but now I'm able to provide that. And that's why I'm so adamant that whenever I get a chance, I absolutely will. And the open mics are fantastic, man, because they welcome in, you know, brand new talent. And more importantly, they encourage, you know, these people that may not feel confident enough, but with the community and the guys that we have, and the group that we have, it's so encouraging, it's so motivating, inspiring. And we've had a lot of new singers and performers that have came through there and started, you know, thinking about it as their career as well, which is sick. I love that.
I love an open mic. I actually love an open mic so much, especially like if you are starting out, like if you've literally just written your first song, what have you got to write another 7 or 8 before you can do a gig? No, you go to an open mic and play it, and you only got to play one song, and it's just like like a perfect way to really like figure out if this is what you want to do, and you see it in people.
100%, man. One thing I always pick up on, right, is I'll go up to people at the open mic, right, and I'll be like, oh, do you fancy getting up? Like I've saw your stuff online, you know, like I've saw that you posted a few videos, like. And you don't want to assume, but like at the same time, you kind of want to push them in that way because you know it's going to be beneficial. And and I've done that a few times, and they've got up and they've performed and they've came off. They were like, "Oh, I'll do one," and then they end up doing like 3-4 songs because they love it, because it's just like it adds so much value to you. There's nothing more valuable than getting up in front of people, singing. And breaking that barrier of anxiety and you know, whatever it is, whatever negative it is, whatever resistance it is, and coming off and being like, yeah, I did that, you know, and
Yeah.
and when people are applauding and stuff like that, I know how much it boosts me up. So for someone that's never done it before, you know, it must be a really nice feeling, and to be a part of that, and to, you know, to encourage that is so important from my, you know, my sort of side of things.
Yeah, I think you used a really important word there, which is like breaking that barrier. There will always be nerves when you go up on stage, but it's never as hard as the first time.
No,
and then giving people an easier way to break through that first barrier, so that they can then start picturing it. Because a lot of time you can't even really picture yourself playing a paid gig in front of a decent crowd if you haven't stepped up at a pub and played 10, 20 people before.
Yes.
And so giving people the opportunity to just expose themselves to something like that slowly, and like in an easier, more like from what it sounds like, a nice environment, like an encouraging environment. It's just so important, because a lot of these people probably would never have been able to do it if it wasn't for an environment like that. This
is the thing, and again, like it's just about understanding the atmosphere, creating a good energy. You know, like it's not just about what I do. It's about what the vibe is. I hate using that word vibe, but it is. We
use it a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
Vibe is one of the most common words,
isn't it? Do you remember when it wasn't? Like,
I don't.
Like, this is the thing. Like, it's just about creating that good atmosphere, welcoming, encouraging, and because you never know, like you never know what someone's going through, and you never know what they want to achieve. It's such a, you know, society is a crazy thing at the minute, and social media is crazy, and it can make or break just by one comment, or you know, and either side, it can be massively uplifting, or it can be massively, you know, deflating. And I want to encourage it to be massively uplifting more so. And I think another thing is just making sure that these new people that are coming through are nurtured. They understand that it's not easy, but if you really want to go for it, it's possible, and you can absolutely achieve these things. And don't get me wrong, sometimes we'll get some people through and it's a little bit like but then you see the fact that they're just loving it, and the fact that they got up, they're not trying to achieve anything. They're just there having a good time, and you have to applaud that.
Of course you do, man. And it sounds like what you are doing up there is just so positive on that scene and those people. It's just so great to have you on, to hear you talk about it, because it's just so important. More people need to be doing these kind of things that you're doing. So thank you for coming on the podcast and explain and just sharing all of this with you.
That's all right, man. I love talking.
It's inspiring.
Thanks, man.
We're trying to copy it in some ways, not in terms of like everything, but like a few things we'll mention. We've got the playlist at the end of this podcast, but what you're doing up where you are, we're trying to have down here, because there's not many. Like, it's not a very collaborative area. We're just outside of London. So what we're trying to do with this podcast is we've met loads of bands, and it was just kind of like you say goodbye after a gig and you go home. Well, there's not many open mics, so that's what, like, one thing which we've kind of taken from you is to try and put on our own nights, or to try and do things like this, and that's definitely our long-term plans of this. So you've kind of inspired us in that way to try and make more of a community of what we've got, and help people come up. And if we've got a gig, we always try and find people to like be on the support card. So that massive thank you to you for inspiring us.
Oh, mate, well, thank you very much for saying that, man. I mean, open mics are just so much more than just getting up and performing. It's like a place where people can come together. And again, as I say, like, if it's a great atmosphere and it's authentic and it's real, you know, like it's genuine. People will want to come. And I mean, I don't know much about, you know, the London music scene. I played a few things here and there. I went to an open mic in Dalston, actually. Was it in Dalston? I think it was in Dalston. It was pretty cool, though. Expensive for a double rum and coke, though.
$7.50 a pint round here.
Yeah, man. I still drank plenty, though. But I remember I got up as well, and and I saw a few people that got up and like they had like massive followings and stuff like that, and you don't really get that round here. But you do see the potential in people as well. There's some incredible singers and artists that will probably end up going to London. Let's be real. I think a lot of the time in the music scene, we talk about how we're sort of in the Northeast, we're overlooked sometimes, and I don't truly believe that. I think if you're overlooked, you just need to shout louder, and do things out of the box. You know, there's a lot of I'm not really amongst the music, the Northeast music scene. I know a lot of people and stuff like that, but like I try not to step on toes. I try to think innovatively and find a way that, you know, benefits me, benefits the artist, the venue, because we're all trying to, you know, sort of gain from this, you know, and we all can. There's no reason why one person should have more than the other, especially after lockdown and stuff like that. I think that's what really sort of brought it to the surface is that it really made you think. Like, everyone was chatting about community, but when it really came down to it, I've saw loads of venues and stuff like that. Good friends who had who put the heart and soul into the venues, and I've saw them be, you know, pushed out. And you know, at the end of the day, it's that is the world. But I remember, you know, someone said to me, it was like, "Oh, it's dog eat dog, like business and stuff like that." I was like, "It's not, like, you know, it
doesn't have to be.
We can coexist, you know." It's just someone's being greedy. So like the way I see things is that if you keep the community at the core always, and you know, you stay real and authentic with it and stuff like that, then your open mics will thrive 100%. And you know, just have fun. You know, just go there and just have fun. And have you had any sort of any development there, like you know, any venues that are picked up or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, we've kind of seen it. A big thing for us is where we are in the place called Watford. It's slowly, there's like venues opening slowly. We had everything taken away, like in, I think probably lockdown. It was like one of the biggest venues shut down. And there was loads of good music from around here. Like Frank Carter was like one of the big people like pushing Watford. But then there's loads of
everyone's got a mate who's mates with Frank Carter. Right?
Yeah, everyone's seen him in one pub, or like his brother also teaches music, so everyone knows his brother.
Right.
It's slowly becoming that, but it is. Yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't much of a community, and that's like, yeah, we're trying to play some part in that as much as we can.
Yeah, I think we did the Space Fest we did last year was kind of where all of what we're doing now kind of bubbled to the surface, and we were like, why aren't we doing this more? Where we had like put on a charity gig at a pub. We had three other bands and then us on, and like we've got loads of people around, raised loads of money for a really good local cause as well, and it was just like. It was genuinely one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah,
but it was more than just a night though, because the whole process of putting it on and everything was just so. It just felt like it was what we were meant to do, and that's when we were like, okay, we started talking about doing a podcast. We were like, how can we keep building this community that we've just kind of seen a flash of in this, and that's kind of what ignited what we're doing now.
That's so sick, man. Yeah. You can tell as well that you are like genuinely like about the community side of things as well, and the passion is at the end of the day. If you don't have passion for anything, nothing's going to. It's like the fuel. The passion is like the fuel.
100%.
You know. And yeah, man. That sounds really, really sick. That Space Fest sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was great.
Space Fest will return. Maybe it'll return on. It was that day was brilliant. It was for Hector's House. They're a brilliant charity, which ties into what we're talking about. Like open mic, it was a mental health awareness charity, and kind of based off of a musician called Hector. So yeah, that was a great night. We hopefully get loads more of them. There's
awesome.
Something else we've half stolen from you as well. We've got a playlist called the Shout Out Podcast playlist. So you've got the Morning Coffee playlist. We've made the Shout Out Podcast playlist. What we do, every guest gets to add one of their songs on, and then just put someone else's song on that you know. It could be a local artist. It could be the biggest artist in the world. You could chuck anything on there. So can we get you to add one of your songs and an artist that also you want to put on there as well, and I'll add them in right away.
One of my songs. Well, I think it's got to be Lavender.
Yeah.
I love that song, man.
Let me get it in.
Great tune.
And then I would love to shout out Adam Leeson from The Morning Coffee. He has a great song called The Storm. Yeah, shout out, exactly.
First shout out.
There we go. The Storm. Got it.
The Storm is fantastic, Adam, man. I mean, we get so many great artists and bands that come into The Morning Coffee, and it's impossible to sort of, shout out them all. Yeah. If I could, I'd shout out every single one of The Morning Coffee guys, man. But Adam Leeson is fantastic. I love Adam, man.
Wicked. Well, if you want to shout out more, you just got to come on again, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's fine by me, man. That's fine by me. How long have you been doing this podcast then?
Since December, not long. This is our second season. So we had a first season, which was just like our mates that are musicians. So me and Dan getting used to podcasting. And
we had Amber Lily on at the end as well.
Yeah, Amber Lily. That was
nice. We had some proper music.
Yeah, it wasn't just all our mates.
This is mate, yeah.
But
and then like now we feel like we're kind of getting good at it. So let's actually like take this shit seriously. Let's start reaching out to people who we don't really know as well, but like we know really active and doing lots of things to talk about, and we're kind of just building it from the ground up, really. But we're not trying to rush things and trying to just really delve into the building of a community and really just get to know what people are doing, and then check in on people and see how everything's developing, and then find a good time for them to come on. And it's just so much fun to do, isn't it, Dan?
It is, man. And you know what it is? One thing I'll say is that when you realize the power community, and the power of just organically and naturally growing, it takes that pressure off so much. Because then you one thing I'll say is that whenever I'm making music now or content or anything like that, I know that like the guys from The Morning Coffee want to sort of see it. You know what I mean? Which is something I've never felt before, and it's such a lovely feeling to have. And like those stupid skits that are like that I post that use comment on. That's just me just being stupid, but like you kind of find your audience with it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you instead of trying to please everyone, you realize that you don't need to do that because you can't, and then you just start making content and making music, and for you first and foremost, of course, but because people buy into you. And they invest into you, whatever that is. Like when it comes down to it, when you're being authentic, it's like that content is for people because they're invested in you, and what you're making is you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's cool, man. I like it.
That's great, man. That's great. Look, man, this has been such a great chat. Honestly, I'm buzzing. I was buzzing to have you on. Dan's been talking about you for so long. I'm so glad to finally meet you and chat with you.
Too, man.
And like I said, man, let's check in soon and see how things are going, because you're so active, and I think you could be a real role model for a lot of artists listening to you, to hear how active you are building a community and like really just delving into the music scene. It sounds like you are such a positive influence on the scene around you, man.
I try to be. I don't try to be anything like from me. I used to think very internally, and once I started thinking externally, it really, the internal side of thing was fulfilled anyway. I know that sounds mad philosophical and maybe a little bit pretentious, but I don't know. I can't explain it. It just, everything is clicking right now. And it feels really, really nice.
See it. That's good, man. That's what a great note to end it on. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Sam Thomas, for coming on this episode of the Shout Out Podcast. Thanks to my co-host, Dan. And thank you guys for watching this episode of the Shout Out Podcast with me, Danny B, and Dan Wood. This has been a sick episode with Sam. You know what to do. You subscribe, hit the bell, just keep watching, man. Season 2 is going so well, and it's only going to get better and better. Keep tuning in, keep building the community. Have a good evening and good night.
Au revoir.
See ya.